Hey foodies, thanks for watching. Before developing celiac disease, I used to love going out for Jamaican patties. But they're full of gluten. My kids love Jamaican patties. And I thought, it's about time I make a recipe that I can enjoy. So foodies, let's roll up our sleeves and let's get to it. And I want to start by chopping up some onions or green onions. Okay, so I've chopped my onions. I'm using green onions today, but you can also use white onions or even a red onion. A white onion is more traditional. I'm using a green onion because I need things to be low FODMAP. So to a hot skillet, I'm going to add my butter. I'm just going to grab a, there we go, and I'm going to melt the butter. And if you want to use margarine with this, go for it. And then I'm going to add my onions. And we'll give it a good stir. What I really like about green onions is they cook so quickly. And then to that, I'm going to add my ground meat. You can use ground pork, ground turkey, ground chicken, or even ground beef. So the meat is almost fully cooked. I'm going to start adding my spices, and I've got thyme, curry powder, kosher salt, and ground pepper. And I'm going to stir that up as well. And it's going to make this place smell amazing. So to that, I want to add breadcrumbs and some stock. I'm using a chicken stock today. Mainly because I find chicken stock is a little bit lighter than like a pork or a beef stock. So all the moisture is cooking out of that. I'm just shutting it off the heat, and I'm going to set that aside. So if you want to make your meat taste a little beefier and you don't want to use beef, just add like a couple tablespoons of red wine and stir it in right when you're adding the stock, and it's going to bring out the really richness and full flavor that like a beef would have. So now we need to make our dough. And I've got some butter, egg, more curry powder, salt, and some flour. And I'm going to use my favorite gluten-free flour. And you need 2 cups of this. And it's important to spoon your flour into the measuring cup so that you don't pack it in there. Because if you're packing it in, you don't know necessarily, maybe it's 300 grams, maybe it's 350, and that can really make a difference in your baking. Okay, so there's one. And where's my second? Dash more. And there's my second cup. Okay, set that aside. I'm going to put my butter in, and my salt, and my curry powder. Oh, I've got to put my paddle on. There we go. And I'm just going to mix that up until the butter resembles small peas. Okay, so my mixture is resembling small peas. I'm going to crack an egg. And I like cracking things into a separate container just so that I make sure that I don't get any shells or the egg hasn't turned, because I'd hate to have to throw everything out and start over again. And I put that in there. We're going to mix it up. And finally, you want to add just a few tablespoons of water just until it comes together. There we go. This looks great. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer like this, you can do your pastry just the way you normally make your pastry. If you want to do it by hand, that's fine. You could, I mean, it's just like making pasta dough or just a pie pastry. I mean, it comes together. You can use a hand mixer or even just a bowl. So give it a try. Let me know what you think, and I'd love to hear your input on how you mix up dough. Okay, this is beautiful pastry. I mean, you can see just how nice it is. And I want to cut this into 10 balls, essentially, or cubes. So let's see, that would be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so about that. I can always take some from another and add to another. There we go. This is going to make about 10 Jamaican patties. So let me set that aside. So I have a little trick for you, or a little secret. I like rolling this out onto a silicone pan, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So I'm just going to roll it, and I might need a little bit of flour, so I'm going to grab my dusting flour, and I'm using the same gluten-free flour that I used to make this with. Okay, I'll spread this out. You want these relatively thin. There we go. Now I want to take another egg, and I'm going to crack that into there, and I'm just going to lightly whisk this up. Okay. And I'm just going to lightly brush about half of it on the outside edges. I'll set that there. Grab my ground meat. And it's cool. It's still very hot, but it's cooled down enough that it can be worked with. And you want to put a good tablespoon right in the middle, maybe a dash more. I'll just set that back. And this is where the silicone comes in really nicely, because it keeps the shape of everything. And you can actually feel where the patty is. And then when you lift it off, you've got not only a hatch pattern on your Jamaican patty, but you've also got it nicely pressed without any splitting. And then I'm just going to go around the edge and just score it with a fork lightly. I'm not going all the way through because I don't want to break the dough. And then I put that right on there. So I'm going to make another one. So I'll make a dough ball. And what I like about using silicone is I can use a lot less flour. It's just the top that I have to make sure that it doesn't stick to anything. Okay, Okay, next we brush. Oh, I ended up doing the whole thing there. Grab that. Good tablespoon, maybe a bit more. Okay. And then we fold it over. You can see my circle is a little bit off, out of shape. I'm going to try and shape it when I fold it in half to match, to make it look a little nicer. So you might have to change the way you fold it a little bit. Okay, and voila. And then we score. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of these, and I'll be back in just a moment. There we go. These are ready to go. I'm just going to lightly brush them with the leftover egg wash. And that just gives them a nice golden crust. You can see some of them have cracked a little tiny bit, and that's totally normal. Just means we've got lots of meat in these patties. But the egg wash will actually help seal that. These are going to go into a preheated oven of 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius for approximately 30 minutes or until golden brown. See you in a moment. These came out absolutely wonderfully. I mean, the smell in this place is unbelievable, and they look so good. They ended up being about 20 minutes in my oven, so do keep an eye on baking temperatures. I mean, every oven is different, so when you put them in, it might say, oh, 30 minutes, but check them a little bit early, and maybe they're done. Maybe they're not. I mean, they might need the full amount of time. They might need a bit more. But these looked gorgeous. And the smell is great. So you can see like they're nice and golden. You got that nice shine from the egg wash on there. I just want to bite into it and see. I have had these out of the oven for about, I'm going to say 15 minutes. So they've cooled down a little bit. You want to be able to store these in the fridge for a couple days, but you can also put them in the freezer and pull them out, heat them back up in the oven or microwave them. They're great as snacks. You can serve them as a side with rice and peas. I mean, they're very versatile. But anyway, I want to try them. That pastry is so flaky. Oh my goodness. It's interesting. When I first made them, I was like, a teaspoon of pepper is a lot of pepper. You don't even taste the pepper. It's not that strong because the pastry dilutes all those spices, and that's why I put in the curry powder into the pastry as well, not only for color, but also to add more flavor. These are so good. You're gonna have to try them. You can find me on glutenfreeguy.ca. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Thanks for watching.